So right now we're going north on Highway E, just outside of the tiny town of Eldridge, Missouri. Curving to the west, to the left, and then it's going to curve back to the north, and there'll be a gravel road that we'll take to the left called Katy Lane, and that is coming up. Like I said, we're just west of Eldridge. Road is curving to the right. We'll go left onto Katy Lane. You can see a group of mailboxes there. You can kind of see the sign for Katy Lane there. So this property we're about to look at has direct frontage on Katy Lane, which obviously is gravel. And then it has a private driveway that goes back to the north. And I don't know the dimensions off the top of my head, but look at the aerial photo to see the dimensions of the property. Power and phone are right here on Katy Lane. Beautiful area, loaded with wildlife, deer and turkey. This property is probably 95% wooded with just a little open pasture on the east side. And we'll be coming up on the property itself. You'll see there's a mobile home here, which is a really good landmark because the property starts pretty much right across from that. Like I said, it has frontage on Katy Lane. It has about 75 feet of frontage. The guys left those trees. You're welcome to clear those because they left them because there was kind of an existing drive that comes off right here. And leads onto the property itself. And that may be a little confusing. It was for me, but I'll stop the video. I'll stop the truck for a second and hop out and look. Okay. So you can see this fence. The east line of this property is fenced, so we're directly on the property. We pulled off of Katy Lane and kind of came over, I guess, part of the road easement. But you can see a survey marker there. It does have direct frontage on Katy Lane. So if you wanted to, you could clear out these trees a couple hours with the chainsaw and snip this fence, and you could pull on that way. It just seemed a lot more convenient for the guys to use this existing pull-off. So this is a good time to mention, there is one property directly west of this, which also has frontage on Katy Lane. But what we've done is we're gonna do an easement over the south part of this property. There's that little roadway for the next guy to get to his property. So hopefully that doesn't bother anyone, that the gentleman to the west is going to have an easement across just this very south part, just where we are here. About the south, maybe 20 feet of the property. And then of course, if he ever puts his own direct drive in off Katy Lane, all he has to do is clear a couple trees and do it that way. Then he'd have no reason to cross over this anyway, but just to let everybody know. So here where we are, you can see the fence, which is the east side of the property. I believe it's about 75 feet wide here. So going from the east side, I don't know if the guys have it marked yet, but I'll just kind of walk it off. All right, that's going to be about 75 feet. So not quite this entire field, but about 2/3 of it or so, I guess. Looking back to the east. There you can see a little mobile home across the way, which obviously means there's power and phone. And I'm looking directly north on the property. So let's hop in the truck and we'll get a really good look at this. But just again, to reiterate, this property over here, even though it's similar to the one that we're looking at today, it does have direct frontage on Katy Lane. We are leaving an easement. You can see the little roadway right here. That's so that guy can pull off the same way we just did and get to his property. And then if and when he cuts his own driveway off Katy Lane, he would almost definitely use that instead. But pretty common deal on these gravel roads to have a little easement like that. Okay, well, let's hop in and we'll have a look at this. I'm going to take my keychain off so it doesn't jangle around too much. So like I said, you can see the east side obviously is fenced. The north side of this property is as well. I really haven't been out here yet to have a good look at this, so I'm excited to see what we can see. Okay, this looks like this could use a little cleanup, so feel free to bring your chainsaw. It's kind of a little, I guess, a mud hole right there. I wouldn't call that a pond. There's a big pond up here that's on the neighbor's property. Some nice trees. I mean, this is really just beautiful. And we're getting close to where the property really starts to widen out. And I'm going to pull over here toward the trees and park. I'm going to park this and resume the video in just a second here. So now we are parked here on the property where it starts to get quite a bit wider. It goes way back to the west. But this potentially right here, this could be a fabulous building site. You've got what looks to be, I don't know, an acre or two of nice flat open ground, bordered by some big timber on the west. We're looking off toward the east. You've got a nice view of the neighbor's pond. I'll hop out in a second, of course, but it's pretty windy today, and I didn't know if that was going to mess with the microphone on the camera, so I'm just trying to do a little bit from in the truck here. Super pretty, looking back toward the south. Okay, let's hop out and see how we do. Definitely a little bit windy today. Now we're looking back down toward the south, where we just came from. Off to the west, you can see the neighbor. You can still see that fence line, which is the east line. And then we're looking up toward the north. You see where the small trees start? That's the north line. That's fenced as well. So right here you've got what could be really an awesome building site. And we'll walk back to the west a little bit and you can get an idea what these trees look like. Because if you wanted a little more privacy, all you have to do is go back into this timber a few feet and you've got it. A little bit cloudy today. I was hoping it would be sunnier, and it is the middle of winter, so there are just basically no leaves on the trees here. Well, there's been fresh deer through here. Beautiful area for deer, just a really well-known area for deer hunting and turkey hunting. And this is gorgeous. Now this property was logged within the last couple years. You don't see a lot of sign of that here on the east side, but as we walk back toward the west, you'll start to see some signs of the logging. But it definitely was not clear cut. There's no part of it that was clear cut. I mean, this is just some of the better stuff we've ever had. You'll find all types of varying terrain on this property. Obviously, where we just drove in was pretty much flat. This seems fairly flat, but then I can see kind of a area where it slopes down here. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but kind of a natural draw. And I haven't studied the topo map too much on this property, but I have looked at it. And it's just a mix of flat to rolling and everything in between. I don't know if there'd be any areas that would be really considered steep, but it could be. I mean, on a parcel this big in this area, you can be sure to have a little bit of everything. I see a lot of big trees left, actually. Small, medium, and large trees. There will be sections, I'm sure, that were logged a little more heavily. I haven't really had the opportunity to spend any time on this property, so I'm excited to get out here and get a good look at it. If you want to look at the entire property, you better plan a few free hours because it's a big one and it goes way back to the west. Feel free to bring your four-wheeler. That'll make things a lot easier. You can see we're up right just about on the north line where that fence is, and then that's the neighbor on the north where it transitions to pasture. Really a nice, solid property. I mean, for a home site, for a cabin, just for recreational, this is great. That's fantastic. And having that direct frontage on Katy Lane is nice. You've got power and phone right on Katy Lane. Whether you use it or not, it's pretty cool to have it. I mean, you can cut some great trails through here. You can have walking trails or four-wheeler trails. Amazing property for hunting. I mean, you could set this up with some trails and you could have pretty much an unlimited number of hunting blinds in different areas on this property. I see we're at about 14 minutes, so I'll cut this one off, but that's the acreage on Katy Lane near the town of Eldridge, Missouri. Eldridge is almost halfway between Lebanon, Missouri and Camdenton, Missouri. So you're in a really nice area. You're close to Lake of the Ozarks, which is Camdenton. A huge lake, open all year round for fishing. Most of it doesn't freeze over. You've got rivers all over the place. And then Lebanon is another large regional city with a lot of employment, a lot of shopping, a lot of restaurants. Eldridge is the nearest town. It's only maybe 3 miles, and it's a tiny town, but it does have a little gas station, convenience store, a couple businesses, so it's handy to have it there. Great property. Acreage on Katy Lane by Eldridge, Missouri.